Konnichiwa mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Welcome to the Sailor Moon 30th anniversary celebration. Yeah, I feel old too. How are you guys all doing out there? Well, thank you so much for coming today. Have you had a great time at Animé so far? Awesome. And it's just going to get better from here too. So we have two very special guests that are joining us today. It's actually kind of a history in the making moment because up until today they had never met each other before. So this is quite interesting. And so we'll bring them up in just a moment here for you. If you look down here in the center aisle, you see that we have a microphone set up. So a little bit into the program, we're going to open up the floor to questions for both of our guests and Sailor Moon in general. And but first we're going to do like a little talk show first. So let me bring to the stage and please give them a huge welcome. Japanese voice of Mamoru, Tuxedo Command, Mr. Toru Furuya, and English voice of Darien / Tuxedo Mask, Toby Proctor. Give him a round of applause, everybody! Now, to refresh your memories of their voice work in the series, we have a couple of clips for you really quick. So here we go.
On a shooting star.
this bring back memories?
It's Sailor Moon! She's the little princess! Oh my god! Finally found her after this animal time. Sabrina, a princess? No, this is way past weird.
All right, guys, give them a round of applause. This is our childhood for a lot of us. But I'm curious, actually, and I ask this when I do Sailor Moon panels usually, how many people in the room had the Deke and the Cloverway dub as their first iteration of the English one, okay? And how many had watched Viz and have not seen the Deke dub? Okay, awesome. So we have a few. All right, well, welcome once again to our two fabulous guests, Mr. Toru Furuya and Mr. Toby Proctor. Welcome to Vancouver. How are you guys doing today?
I'm fine. 本当にこうしてたくさんのセーラームーンファンの人たちと会えるのを楽しみにしてきました。
I'm so excited today to meet all you Sailor Moon fans today. Thank you for coming.
Well, I love Vancouver to begin with, but this is really special for me because for years, meeting fans at conventions after the fact, I was always asked what would be my bucket list for Sailor Moon, and it was to meet the original Tuxedo Mask, and this is happening right now.
Oh, me too.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into it with a question kind of based on some of the clips that we just watched there. So I'm always curious myself in the process that's involved with how dubs are made or how voiceover in general happens. So we have Toby and I were talking a little bit backstage, and when they did the North American dubbing, it was you were by yourself, you know, and sometimes they'll bring in others, but it's not like a whole group effort, like in one room at one time. But I've heard that in the Japanese version, they have all of the voice actors together. So I'm curious if this is true, if you can elaborate on this, and we'd just be curious about that.
Yes. 日本ではこのコロナになる前は一つのスタジオに、全員出演者全員が入って一緒に収録をします、しかも30分もののこういうアニメーションの場合は2つに区切って15分ずつ一気に収録してしまいます。
So prior to COVID, yes, they are correct. Everyone, we used to have several voice actors in one studio all recording at once. And for a 30-minute anime, typically what would have happened in the past was that it would be divided into two 15-minute segments, and then they would record the entire 15 minutes all in one go.
で今はコロナの状態が厳しくなっているので2年ぐらい前から一度にスタジオに入れるのは3人まで。
But with the COVID pandemic, restrictions have been quite strict to keep everyone safe. So as of now, we studios typically only allow up to 3 voice actors at once.
ですから時間をずらして何度もスタッフは収録をしなければいけない。
So it's a little bit harder for the staff because they have to now record in several different segments with only 3 people in the studio at once.
でも僕たちは 自分の出ているところだけを集中して収録してしまうので、とても時間が短くなって楽になりました。
But for us voice actors, it's become a little easier actually because we're able to just focus on our scenes in one go rather than switching back and forth between different voice actors in a longer segment.
And Toby, would you like to comment on?
Yeah, so very different because mostly the Canadian cast did it singularly, except for I think Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars. But I had to match his cadence because of how he originally performed. We had to squeeze in a different language into the same rhythm, basically. So it was a tall order to make it sound natural. But I'm sorry, I'm just fanboying here for a second. I'm trying to act really cool, but this is still a very cool moment for me. But yes, we would mostly do it alone in the studio.
So another thing kind of along the same level here. Naru-san, Naru, the character of Naru in Japanese, and Molly in North America. In the original English dub, they gave Molly a Brooklyn-style accent, and I think it's because Naru had an Osaka-style accent. And I heard that that's why they had done that. Is that something that you
had no clue?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for that, guys. So now you know a little bit about the recording process. I remember when I spoke with Susan Roman, she mentioned that usually the director said to really make it American accents and what was said at the time, like among teenagers and things like that. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, anything Canadian, like, I'm so sorry, they wouldn't like that. So like they always spell in S-A-W, so sorry. I'm so sorry. And you just kind of get used to that. Oh, I'm so sorry. So that was kind of the thing, because I think they wanted the broad North American feel, just to make sure that they got that U.S. market, you know.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, guys. All right. So this is a very interesting panel when you think about it, because we have Sailor Moon, which is a series that's kind of geared more towards girls, more females and stuff. There's a huge male fandom. I mean, I'm one of them here, but it's interesting that we have this is the male perspective coming from it. And what I kind of wanted to touch on was what it was like going from voicing heroes, like being the main character of the show. Because back in the 80s, back in the 90s, there were a lot of male superheroes, a lot of male just leads in general. And then along comes Sailor Moon, which kind of changes things. And I remember Vincent Carrazza in 2012 had said this, and Ron Rubin, how it was a huge change for them to go from being the hero of the show to now taking like a backseat to it. How did that make you guys feel? Like, was that just a different, just a whole new world?
そうですね、僕がやっぱり今までやってきた、例えばガンダムとか、それからセイントセイヤとかは、ヒーローである男性キャラクターが敵と戦って、それをそばにいる女性キャラクター、ヒロインがサポートするという形がほとんどでした。
So prior to Sailor Moon, as you guys all may know, a lot of my roles were Gundam, Saint Seiya, where there's a male hero protagonist with who has fighting scenes and would have a female character to support my character.
それがセーラームーンの場合は、戦うのは、セーラームーンとか女性のキャラクターたちで、結局タキシード仮面はそばにいてサポートするだけだったので、ちょっと驚きましたし、でもそういう形で、のヒーローというのもありなんだなというふうにちょっと考えが変わりました。
However, when I got casted as Tuxedo Mask, it was completely different because now we have a female protagonist fighting the enemies, and I was myself as Tuxedo Mask, was supporting male characters who would support these female antagonists. And this did come by as a surprise to me because I'm not used to it. However, as I proceeded through the series, I started recognizing that this new type of this new type of a dynamic between a female protagonist and a male support role is also completely acceptable and very entertaining as well.
タキシード仮面はセーラームーンがピンチになると出てきますけれど、今だセーラームーンっていうだけで、My job here is done って言っちゃうんで。
So Tuxedo Mask only makes an appearance when Sailor Moon really needs him, so he'll pop up and be like, it's now Sailor Moon, and then he'll do his job, and then he'll just leave.
ただでも月のうさぎの心の支えになっているのは確かですから、うさぎにとっては、千葉守は必要だったんだと思います。
However, I must say that Tuxedo Mask acted as a very important emotional support for Sailor Moon, so I think in that sense he played a very big role in the well-being and the character of Sailor Moon.
Well, my experience was interesting because I hadn't really done any voice work before Tuxedo Mask. I'd been an actor for many years as a young guy, but my voice work started with Tuxedo Mask, and a week after getting Tuxedo Mask, I was also cast as Flash Gordon at the same time. So I was recording Tuesdays and Thursdays doing Tuxedo Mask in the morning and Flash Gordon in the afternoons. And it was a very big shift because being the kind of the series lead to then being Tuxedo Mask, and I was going to use that line because I love that. My job here is done. You haven't done anything. It's become a great, it's such a great meme. And it was funny because you had this character who seemed very supportive, but quite elusive. And I always used to think he arrived late because he was trying to find roses. That's my only explanation. Ballistically tipped roses, hopefully.
That's awesome. And I'm curious, because in the original Sailor Moon anime, Tuxedo Mask threw roses, but he actually has an attack in the manga. So your co-stars would get to yell out their attacks, like moon healing escalation and so on. Did you ever feel jealous that he never got to use his attack, Tuxedo La Smoking Bomber, in the original anime?
I've said that a few times. I've been made to say it. No, I wasn't jealous. I liked the fact that at this point, especially in the '90s, to have an all-girl ensemble, I think was way overdue. Yeah.
And Furuya-san?
What was the name of the attack?
Oh, Tuxedo La Smoking Bomber.
そうですね、やっぱり僕が今までやってきたヒーローは大体その必殺技を、例えばペガサス流星剣が、叫ぶんですよね。ヤムチャだとローガ風剣っていうのもあるし、ですからタキシード仮面もラスモーキングボンバーって言いたかったです。
So as recited, most of my characters had their signature attacks. So I really wish that, back in the days, I had the opportunity to see my Tuxedo attack line as well.
Awesome. Did you want to give it a go?
Me? Well, no, but if I had a rose, it would just be like that. I don't know. Okay. It's been a while. I'm a little,
That's awesome. Okay, I've often wondered that too, because in Sailor Moon Crystal, he does say it. They brought it because it follows the manga a lot more than the original series did. But speaking as a Sailor Moon fan myself, I love the original series because we had a lot of what they call filler episodes, but it endears you more to the series. You get more character, like to explore the characters and stuff, and you really get to know them more, and I love that aspect of it. Whereas with when you're reading a manga or watching a series based just strictly on the same chapters as a manga, sometimes it feels a little rushed and like you can't always get that same connection to the characters. So that's just speaking as a fan.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but the whole Sailor Moon set was actually born out of the censorship problem, because we couldn't even show a kid riding a bike without a bike helmet, and so there was so much stuff that was taken out, they had to make up network time. And so that's when they came up with the Sailor Moon says as to add some of that interstitial. So that's what actually was created.
The more you know. That's
Right.
awesome.
Knowing is half the battle.
That's awesome. All right. So, I'd like to discuss with you guys what you think Sailor Moon means to fans today, how it helped pioneer television. Like Sailor Moon was one of the first female-centric superhero shows, at least in North America, you know, and an early one in Japan as well too. And how your involvement in the series has impacted your careers today.
やっぱり女性たちが悪いやつらをやっつけて、戦うということで、やっぱり男性のアニメファンもすごく増えたと思いますし、そのことがやっぱりその後のアニメにも影響してて、とても良かったんじゃないかと思います。
So with the new, back then, with the new style of females acting as the protagonists, fighting with the enemy, that whole new concept was very new to a lot of people. Like, I think it contributed a lot to like an increase of both male and female fans of anime, and I think it shaped how anime is today foundationally in several ways.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I think long overdue having that type of female empowerment, and let's be honest, it was years in the making. But it was great to see. I would say I wish there was more, to be honest. I know a lot of my female voiceover friends still say when they go for auditions there'll be, you know, pictures laid out, and there really will be not a lot of female kind of centric leads yet. And I think that should change, and I think it will change, especially with female producers and female production companies, which are totally on the rise, and that's great. As far as my understanding of what Sailor Moon meant to fans and what my involvement was, it's been pretty surreal, actually, because you have to understand, I didn't know what Sailor Moon was when I got this show. I was just asked to audition for something, and I drove away, and my agent called me and said, "Congratulations, you got Sailor Moon." And I'm like, "What? What's Sailor Moon?" And I said, the thing you just auditioned for. I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but I still don't know what Sailor Moon is." And then a week later, I started voicing it, and then a few weeks later, I saw a kid with a backpack with a tuxedo mask on it. And it changed my life because I've traveled the world because of this show, and I've met, I don't know, easily hundreds of thousands of people at this point. And then them outpouring saying, you know, this show changed my life, or this show helped me through a rough time. You know, maybe they had a divorce they were dealing with their parents or something, and they said it was a close friend that I really needed at the time. And to be the voice of that is a very unnatural thing to have, but I'm very humbled by it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So in a moment, we're going to open the floor up to some questions from the audience. So what we would ask is that only one question per person, just to give people a chance to ask. We have this microphone set up right over here in the middle, and please don't run over to it. We want everybody to be safe. When you do come up to the microphone to speak, you can remove your mask for a moment to speak into the microphone and put it back up just so that they can hear you clearly. And if you could speak clear and concise, that would be great. Look over here. We got a backpack with that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Turn that around. This is cool.
Yeah, show the crowd.
Show people it's cool.
That's actually, I just noticed that. Just the way yeah. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. Sorry, caught my attention. So as people decide to congregate up here, I've got another question to talk about here. Can you guys share some funny stories or anecdotes on your time on the series? So like from the Japanese perspective and the English perspective, I'd love to hear, even if you have embarrassing stories of your co-stars, you're more than welcome to share those if you want to do so, but it's up to you.
セーラームーンは最初のセーラームーン5年間続いて5つのシリーズがあったわけだけど、当時、スタッフとキャスト全員で大型バスに乗って、 1年に1回必ず温泉旅行に行ったんですね。
So, the original Sailor Moon aired for a total of 5 years, and throughout the years, most of the staff and cast, we did an annual thing where they would put us all in a huge bus and we would all go on a hot springs trip together.
それがやっぱりとても楽しかったし、月のうさぎ役の三石琴乃と一緒にテニスをやった思い出が深く覚えています。
I deeply remember a fun experience where, with the voice actors playing Tsukino Usagi, Miss Mitsuishi Kotono-san, I remember playing tennis with her and just really, that was probably one of my strongest memories from the trips.
Awesome. Thank you.
As far as things happening with the cast, I didn't really have that because we didn't record together. However, how we recorded, because they did the prelay, so they didn't have to dub. We would see, it was basically like professional karaoke, and it was this gigantic screen of the big words going by, and it was like following a bouncing ball. And so it would be tough to do that alone, but we would sometimes just do the pass poll. We wouldn't see the script before, so we'd just say, hey, let's do a take. So you just read the sentence as it went by, you had no idea what you were about to say. And then if something were to happen, it would just be in brackets or parentheses and it would say react, right? So you would read this thing cold and all of a sudden you're like, ha ha! But then you actually realize you just got stabbed. So we'd have to record a different sound just to make sure it matched. So that would happen a lot actually. So that would be my funny thing, and of course I'd lose it, and then it would take me 15 minutes to stop laughing, and then we'd try to be serious again and pull it together.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. So now we are going to open the floor to our audience and stuff. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you for your questions. You can head right up to the microphone here, and like I said, if you could just be clear and concise, just so they can hear you, that would be great. I don't think our mic's on over here. Can we do it? Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, try again.
Testing.
There we go.
If you could have voiced any of the Sailor Scouts, including the Outer Scouts, which one would you have wanted to be?
そうですね、やっぱり主役のセーラームーンやりたいですね。
I would definitely say Sailor Moon, the main character.
Well, Linda Valentine would kill me, but I'd say Sailor Mars. I look good in heels, come on! See, you can't see my calves from here, it's fine, don't worry.
I actually have a question. I already asked you the question yesterday, but I want to ask Mr. Furuya the question. So, have you seen Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon? It's a live-action series of Sailor Moon from the early 2000s. It's, I'm gonna say this in Nihongo, it's very kimoi. It's so kimoi, it's so cringy. Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, it's like early 2000s live action.
いや、僕は見てないですね。日本では、ミュージカルのセーラームーンがあるので、それは見たことありますけど、それはとても素敵でしたよ。
So I haven't seen the live action version on television. However, they have several different Sailor Moon musicals in Japan. I've seen that and I remember enjoying that quite a bit. But not the live action TV.
The live action TV also did a stage play too, and it's like more cringy than in its own show. Yeah, Sailor Venus dies in the live action series. It's very sad. Yeah, she was a successful J-pop artist and she died of a terminal illness.
Well, just really quick, we are going to be doing a few clips after we say goodbye to Toby and Furuya-san. So some of them include the live action series and the musical. So if you're interested in seeing them, you can do so. All right, come on up next. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for being here. I'm a big fan. I wish we would have more of this one in the 90s, but we don't, we didn't. Anyways, my question is, I just recently found out they're releasing Sailor Moon Crystal version of the Sailor Stars arc. I didn't know about this. What are your thoughts on them finally adapting the final arc, faithful to the manga?
そうですね、オリジナルの場合はどうしても原作通りにやるとすぐに追いついてしまうので、なるべく長く、放送したかったから、スタッフが、いろんなエピソード、原作にないエピソードを入れて、制作したと思うんですけど、なるべくこうたくさんの人に、受け入れられるように、キャラクターも増やしたし、さまざまなちょっとコミカルなエピソードも入れたのが、それでセーラームーンがとてもヒットしたのだと思っていますので、それで良かったんじゃないかと思いますけど。
So with the original series, back then the manga was still ongoing, and the production team did have to try very hard so that the anime doesn't catch up to the manga original. So they inserted a lot of original episodes, a lot of original characters, some very comical episodes. But I do think that's one of the things that contributed to the popularity of the anime. So yes, it wasn't exactly the same as the manga, but I think it's good that they stuck to the way they did it.
And I think for anybody, especially the hardcore Sailor Moon fans, they're finally getting what they've been wanting. It's been years in the making. I think the censorship thing really actually quite bothered a lot of us once we knew, because when we first did our episodes, we had no clue that it was censored. We were just given stuff as actors, and it was only later at these conventions that we were told that it wasn't actually the whole story. So it's kind of like an unraveling for people, even as deeply as connected as we were to the show. We had no idea that it was actually missing major parts and actual real elements, like actual transgender characters, which is, come on guys, it's 2000 and whatever. And so I think it's really exciting, and I'm excited. And it just keeps the brand alive. It's a new iteration, and I'm excited.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to have to cap the line at the back there. We'll try to get through as many as we can here, guys. We got about 15 minutes left with our gentleman here, so we'll go as quickly as we can. Thank you.
My question already kind of got sort of answered, but I was wondering, because obviously we know that the deep dub was localized a lot. Did you realize how localized it was, like them changing genders, and characters, and taking stuff out, or were you just like, oh, this is how the show is? And how did you feel when you first found out? Whoa, they took out a lot.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise to us because, like I said just before, we were not told anything about it, and I actually don't know if I think it was an honest thing. It's not that they were withholding information. It was just such a crazy schedule that we were put pages in front of us, and we did our best to make it exciting and fun. And it was really only after the fact that we realized that there was some massive omissions. And once we learned that, it was like, we would love to go back and voice the real show. I mean, that would be this one bucket list, that's mine.
Yeah.
So we all know that Tuxedo Mask ends up as Sailor Moon. What I'm wondering is, if you actually were Tuxedo Mask, which character in the show would you choose to be a romantic interest to Parker?
I'll let him answer this first. That's dicey.
I don't think I can give an answer other than Sailor Moon's Kinosagi.
That's the safe answer.
Can you be more of a troublemaker, even more troublemaker?
And in the spirit of respect, I would say I think Tuxedo Mask needs to be single for a while.
Sorry, Toby, can you repeat that one last part you said? Can you repeat that one last part you said?
I think Tuxedo Mask needs to be single for a while.
Thank you.
How did you feel when you first found out when Tuxedo Mask became a father with Sailor Moon, like their child? How did you respond of first becoming a father as Tuxedo Mask?
アニメでなかなか父親になる役っていうのはあんまりやらないんですよね。やっぱりヒーローヒロインのファンからすると、子供ができてしまうとなんかあんまりヒーローっぽくなくなってしまうので、だからちょっと驚きましたね。
So it's not very common. It wasn't really common for me to play father roles simply because a lot of the mainstream hero or male or female hero fans don't necessarily want to see their favorite character with kids. So considering that, I was very surprised that Tuxedo Mask was made into a father.
でもちびうさが出てきたことによって、月のうさぎがちびうさにこう嫉妬するじゃないですか。それがとても可愛いと思いました。
But when Chibiusa, so when Rainy makes an appearance, so they're both jealous of each other because they're fighting over Tuxedo Mask. So I thought that setting was very cute.
You have to understand, I was 20 when I recorded this. I was sweating buckets over here. Yeah, I was not ready to be a dad. And it was cool, but weird. Cool and weird. Yeah, that's the best way I can say it. Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. This is so exciting. Oh my goodness. My question is that if Tuxedo Mask had to cosplay as any of the Sailor Scouts or Sailor Senseis, who would it be? Like, as Tuxedo Mask? I want to see if he could wear a skirt or not.
そうですね。僕グリーンが好きだから。
I like green.
Sailor Jupiter.
Oh, this is a tough one. I know I mentioned Sailor Mars before for the Cavs, but maybe Sailor Melvin? I don't know. Sailor Melvin. He wasn't a girl, but I think he'd still, why not? Wow! Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, so my question is, what was the most memorable scene for you guys to film, like from the entire series?
そうですね。劇場版のセーラームーン R で、千葉守が月のうさぎに告白するというか、ラブシーンみたいなシーンのセリフがあるんですけど、それが一番好きですね。
So in one of the movies, Sailor Moon R, there is a scene where Mamoru confesses to Usagi, and I particularly remember that, and that was probably one of my favorite lines.
今は寂しくない。ウサコが俺の家族だ。ウサコと会うために俺は一人で待っていた。そんな気がするんだ。
So just for context, that was a line where he confessed to Usagi saying that I feel like I was born to meet you. You are my family.
Mine's just a quick two-parter. I would say, as far as the actual episodes, Day of Destiny 30, when they were in the elevator, when she finally discovered that it was actually Tuxedo Mask, it was Darien. That was, for me, the moment that I've been waiting for sure, and it is one of my favorite scenes. And and that would be my favorite actual recording, but the favorite line for me is, "Hey meatballhead, what are you doing here? I thought for sure you'd be over there with your friends, especially since they're acting like total fools." And the reason why that's my favorite is because I never recorded that line. That was the line that got me this job.
Thank you. Out of the original run of the anime, I know that there's... sorry. Out of the original run of the anime, there were, 5 seasons, the original series, Sailor R, Sailor
I'm really sorry, could you speak up a little?
Oh, sorry. So out of the original run of the anime, there were 5 seasons. There was the original season, Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon S, Super S, and Stars. I was just wondering, which of these seasons was your favorite?
もちろん一番最初のシーズンが好きですね。は
By far, season 1, the first one, is my favorite.
い。とても面白かったです。
It was the most entertaining, in my opinion.
Actually, season 1 for me as well, just because it was so much of a birth for me, just having to take hold of this character, and I'll never forget it. It's too close to my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I was remembering that before you said that the only two who recorded together were Mars and Ray and Usagi. And I was wondering if that was because they bicker the most, so it requires them to be in the same room.
Totally, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why they did that, just to have that realistic kind of banter back and forth. And let's be honest, Tuxedo Mask wasn't really a talker. But good looking, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I was wondering if you had any favorite recording moments in the booth, like any moments or parts that was your most favorite or memorable?
I think that was asked.
Yeah, it was kind of asked already. Toby, for you, it was in the elevator moments.
Yeah, actually, very quickly, I have one more. Just as a production favorite day, I was recording one time, and this is back in the pager days, and I was mid-sentence doing something, I got a pager, and it said 00000, and my brother had his daughter, and I became an uncle that moment. And I was riding a motorcycle just like Tuxedo Mask. I got on my Kawasaki Ninja and drove to her, and they let me get out of the session to see my niece for the first time. So that was a very big moment for me. Yeah.
When each of you awesome guys...
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Oh, right.
This guy, come on.
Oh, you! When each of you awesome guys were Tuxedo Mask, how did each of you guys really enjoy it?
So so when you auditioned for Tuxedo Mask, did they enjoy it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in the audition for Tuxedo Mask, did you enjoy it?
僕はオーディションはしてないです。もう最初から、もう指名というか、マネージャーから今度セーラームーンっていうアニメが始まるんだけど、このキャラクターをやってほしいってイラストを見せられました。
So I actually did not audition for this role. I received a message directly from my manager saying that the production has specifically asked me to play this role, and they gave me an image or illustration of Tuxedo Mask just for my reference.
Okay.
それでパッと見たときに、マジシャンって思いました。
My very first impression was, is this guy a magician?
それで何というキャラクターなのと聞いたら、タキシードマスクだって言われて、わ、そのまんまじゃん。
And then I asked my manager what the name of the character is. He said Tuxedo Mask. I was like, that is very literal of this image.
Okay. I just want to say that you guys are awesome, and I like you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, it's an honor to meet both of you, especially Furuya-san, who I follow quite a bit of your other works. And I have a very interesting question as a big fan of Sailor Moon, okay? So all of the villains are very, very interesting. What are the most memorable villains from Sailor Moon that you think of when you were working on Sailor Moon?
Oh man. I remember one, it was like a clown. Some weird clown that threw shards or something, wasn't that the thing? I think it was in like the first season. I remember it kind of freaked me out. I don't like clowns, I think, is what I'm trying to say. If there's clowns up here, I'm really sorry. Just don't seek me out. I think, yeah, it was some weird guy with like polka dots and stuff like this. That was kind of the only one that actually scared me, maybe.
You wouldn't have liked the 4th season because it was about a Dead Moon circus and evil circus and stuff.
Oh yeah. Not cool, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
me
remember
too.
that episode. Yeah, I remember it being a little bit of a creepy episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we have about 5 minutes left. So we got with these gentlemen here. So.
Sorry, real quick, just from the 90s until now, how have you seen voice acting change? Or have you seen these kind of roles change?
Oh, 日本ではやっぱり声優というポジションがすごくだんだんこう注目されるようになっていって、今人気のある声優たちは本当に、歌を歌ったりダンスしたり、それから実写の、顔出しのテレビドラマに出たりするようになっているのがすごく変わったと思います。
So anime and voice acting, it's all developed so much since the 90s. I've noticed that with that development, I noticed that a lot of popular voice actors lately, they sing, they dance, they act in actual live action shows. And I think with the popularity of anime increasing, the profession of a voice actor also has been developing as well.
あと女性の声優たちがすごい可愛いのばっかりになりました。
And the female voice actors, they're also cute lately.
For me specifically, I remember getting into voice acting in the 90s, and one thing I have noticed from back then, everything was a bit more amped up, a bit more cartoony, like, hey, buddy, get over here. And now you very rarely hear that. A lot of things is just a straight animation, and you just hear natural voice. So I will say I actually struggled with that, going from a bit more of a cartoony voice to then an animated voice, which is just like they would just say, just try it out, no character, just be yourself. I'm like, it's tough. So yeah, it's an adjustment, but it is different. Yeah, it's a great question.
Thank you.
So just one moment, sir. Okay.
Great to meet both of you. Just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work as well, Kuni-san, because Aomori Ray is one of my favorite characters. Thank you. Yes. I wanted to ask, between the both of you as well, other than Sailor Moon, do you have a character from any other series that you most identify with, or you feel is like the best representation of your work, besides Tuxedo Mask?
That we actually voiced? Yes.
Yes.
There's
a lot, so it's really hard.
そうですね。もちろんガンダムのアムロレイもそうだし、セイントセイヤのペガサスセイヤもそうです。それからドラゴンボールのヤムチャ。でも今は、日本で僕のキャラクターで一番人気なのは、ディテクティブコナン、アムロトールというキャラクターが一番人気があるので、あとはワンピースのサボもしばらくテレビ出てきてないですけど、またもうじき活躍するみたいですので、この2つのキャラクターが今自分にとっては大切です。
So again, there's a lot, so it's hard, but back then I started with my big roles like Gundam, Pegasus Seiya from Saint Seiya, Yamcha from Dragon Ball, Tuxedo Mask, but nowadays by far my most popular roles are from Conan, Toru Amuro, and also Sabo from One Piece, who hasn't quite been in the series lately, but he is expected to play an active role soon, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it'd be hard to replace Tuxedo Mask for me personally, because it was just such an iconic character that I got to slide into. But the only one that I think raises a lot of eyebrows, especially at anime conventions, is Copycat Ken from Rebel 1/2. So that would be it, I think.
Thanks so much.
Copycat Ken. Ranma 1/2.
Hi, it's an honor to meet you both. I'm a huge fan. I watch both languages, so very excited to even be asking this question. Sailor Moon has so many beloved and amazing characters, but with so many great ones, there's always going to be at least one or two that you're like, so. So who would you say is your least favorite character from the show, or the one that you're on? No, that's a bad question.
No.
There's so many loved ones, I said.
I almost want to hold my tongue and see what he does first.
Cheater.
Wait, I'm blushing.
もちろんクイーンベリルが嫌いですね。敵だから。
Queen Beryl.
Luna? I am a cat person, I'm joking. Both cats are fun.
Thank you so much, guys.
Well, I just had one question. Now with 30 years of Sailor Moon and everything you know about the legacy of the series, is there anything you would do differently with your portrayal of Tuxedo Mask, knowing everything you know now? Kind of a complex question, sorry.
Good.
いや、特にないですね。もう当時のタキシード仮面の演技はもう完璧なので、僕は大体 反省しない方なんでもう自分の作品を見て感動したりする方ですから、やり直したいと思ったことはないです。
There's nothing I would redo. I'm the type of person who reflects back to it and I have no remorse of what I did, so I think everything I did was near perfect.
I wish I had that type of thing going on, because I would change literally everything. I want to revoice the whole show. When I listen back, just because I'm older now, I feel like I could have done a little bit better, but that's just me.
Oh, you did great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you both of you.
All right, thank you guys for your questions. So, Toru Furuya and Toby Proctor both have some stuff coming up this afternoon, photo booth and autograph sessions coming up, so make sure to check them out in the vendors hall. At this point, we're going to bid them adieu, and thank you guys very much for being part of the panel here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you to Jeremy, and also thank you to Kaide for translating. Thank you very much for a great experience. Thank you. And thank you to you guys.
Now, the panel itself is not over yet. We're going to go through a little bit of introspective of some clips and stuff. Yeah.
Before we do that, can I do one thing? I need a picture up here with him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
History, guys. History in the making. Thank you very much, you guys. One more round of applause for our guests.
Thank you. Hey.
All right, guys. So, I wanted to go through just a few clips of different parts of the series because Sailor Moon has a massive media presence in the world. Furuya-san was talking about the musicals, there's a live-action series, there's even a fan-made My Little Pony crossover episode. I don't have it with me today, but it's out there if you want to check it out. But what I want to start showing first is not a lot of people realize that before Deke and Cloverway got the rights to dub the Sailor Moon series, Saban and Tube Makers had a hand in making a pitch for it. There's only one video that exists from our convention, and it's very grainy and it's very kind of all over the place. But this is what we almost got for Sailor Moon in North America. to the reactions of the crowd as they're watching us. So you mentioned the live action series is cringy, in your opinion. Now, one thing that they did keep for the teen version is the logo. And you may have seen them flying around on like their space sails and stuff. They did have toys of those. So if you have one of those, it's probably worth quite a bit of money. Anyway, so yeah, that's what almost happened. So if you're not a big fan of the Deke English dub, like some people don't necessarily like it, we almost had that. So it would have been interesting. I don't know. I'd honestly love to see a full episode of it. I really, really would. But and then there was actually going to be another iteration of it as well, too, called Team Angel. Take a look at this one.
It was popular around the world, but before the anime was released in the US in 1995, some ambitious Americans explored a different idea. Why not remake the show with American-style animation intercut with footage of real-life all-American teens? The full story of what happened to that legendary and lost pilot is complex. We didn't find the pilot, but while researching the story, we found something else. A second attempt at an American Sailor Moon created in 1998. This is Team Angel.
That scene where they're like holding up their arms, and then you see that there's like a split second in between, kind of like watching Power Rangers. You know, there's the explosion, or like they'll go like this, and then the explosion happens. So it's kind of like... Anyway, those were the two iterations that we could have had. So just remember that, everyone. All right, now, so we did have a clip earlier, and just for time-wise, I think we'll skip the next one. So number 6 on the playlist there, Jeff. It was just going to be another Sailor Moon clip, but because we had Toby's clip on there earlier, that probably hit you guys in the feels, hearing that song again, right? My Only Love. That song is it's iconic. Every time I play it at any Sailor Moon panel that I'm involved in, it just brings out the tears. Toby was looking over here and he's like, I'm getting goosebumps watching this. So, but that was awesome. But what I will show you is we had in 2012 6 of the Sailor Moon voice actors here in our very first year. So we had Vincent Carrazza, who came after Toby Proctor's Tuxedo Mask, Terry Hawks, we We had Sugarland Beard, who's been to AR a couple of times actually, Katie Griffin, Ron Rubin, and Susan Roman. And we had them line up and we were getting them to call out some of their attack names. So this is a clip from that panel.
Jupiter! Thundercloud! Flash! Blue, healing, activation! Pink, sugar!
Scouts to say, let's hurry. How does one attack? You guys had attack the manga. Yeah, the manga would never come. I always remember saying, hey, bud. My staple is there.
That was an amazing time for me as a huge Sailor Moon fan being a part of that. But now has come the time that we're going to show you the live action series. We have some clips of the transformations and stuff. And I'll tell you this, Tuxedo Mask gets a transformation in the live action as well too. So prepare yourselves, guys. This is Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, the live action transformations. Circa 2003, 2004. CGI happening first.
愛と正義、セーラー服美少女戦士、セーラームーン。月に向かって、お仕置きよ。バイビー。
Now one thing that the live action series did really, really well is the difference in hairstyles. People often wonder, like, how do the villains not realize but that is the same hairstyle, all that stuff. They changed it. They look like regular people and they transform. That was pretty cool.
水属性の戦士、セーラーマーキュリー。水星に変わって、お仕置きよ。
So yeah, Mercury becomes evil in a part of it. Dark Fury. And they felt they needed a Chibiusa-like character. So we got Luna as a human. Luna was part CGI, part hand puppet. As was Arthur. And Artemis was voiced by Kabe Yamaguchi, Inuyasha. Compared to what we watched earlier with what could have been, and what you just watched now, which is cringier? The American? Okay, awesome. This is all part of the history of the series, though, in North America and worldwide, which is awesome, and I love exploring it. Someone mentioned earlier, Venus's transformation looks like a shampoo commercial. I wish I would have thought about this, but Viz Media took that a step further. For the Ford Fusion, they actually did official commercials. So Usagi and Luna are looking outside at night, and Usagi's saying, oh, there's the constellation of Orion, and the constellation of Sagittarius, and there's the constellation of the new Ford Fusion. So Viz is capable of cringy things too. All right, moving from the live action series though, there were the Sailor Moon musicals. Now I am a massive fan of the Sailor Moon musicals. I literally have every single one of them, whether it's on video or DVD or Blu-ray. In 1993 to 2005, they released the musical pretty much in the spring and the fall or the winter, and it was mixed casts. They took a hiatus, and in 2013 they came back with an all-female cast. So yeah, Tuxedo Command, everybody played by females. It was really interesting. We're going to show a clip from the 2017 Sailor Moon musical. This is Sky of Jewels. It's like an appearance theme for the Sailor Senshi. It's a Sailor Stars musical, so before everything goes to heck. So here we go. I love this song. I don't have something else, but I'm sorry. All right. So what do you guys think of that, the musical? They actually played here in Vancouver, not live, but at the IMAX theater. They were across North America, actually. That specific musical was in theaters here. And it was awesome. What gets me is they subtitled it, but then when they brought it out on Blu-ray, DVD, there's no subtitles. So. And actually in 2016, Animé-d in New York brought the whole cast over from Japan, and they did a 15-minute long performance out there for it. It was awesome. So. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up the show for today. I wanted to mention this too. Now, Toby had mentioned that some people come up to him and say that Sailor Moon helped get people through like high school and stuff like that, and I was one of those fans too. I used to get picked on and stuff in high school, as you know, a lot of people do, but it kind of stopped after a while when I started collecting Sailor Moon cards, and I carried this big binder with me around all the time with over 1,000 Sailor Moon cards. So I just have to think that people were like, "Oh, I don't want to mess with him." Hit me over the head with the binder or something. I don't know. It was just funny. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming today. And like I mentioned, Toby Proctor, Toru Furuya, they're going to be around all weekend. You can catch them down at the autographs and also the photo booth if you want to get pictures with them. And if you want to look at some of this stuff, I have like, they had manga of they call them anime-manga. They take cells from the episodes and they turn them basically into a manga form. And I have the musicals where there's books inside, you can look at the characters. And this is a book that kind of talks about Sailor Moon over the years as well too. So, but as everybody leaves, we've got another music video for you. And like I said, for a few minutes, I'll have some of my stuff around the stage here if you guys want to come and take a look as well too. Thank you very much, guys.